we are talking about the character, the persona, the gimmick today, because we don't do that enough. So when we do go through the history of wrestling, who was so damn dangerous, they made us feel just a little bit scared. You will not have to ponder this anymore after this list, because that's right, I am Simon Miller, and yeah, here comes the 10 most dangerous wrestlers ever. Number 10, Cactus Jack. Literally, all of the time. Because nobody carried a sense of danger like the one Jack from Cactus. It wasn't just that he was a threat to others too. It was that he was basically a threat to himself because he was happy to use his body to inflict massive damage. That is why he would do that ring drop off the apron, why he'd hit you with a 2x4, and why very often he would cover himself with barbed wire and run at you. I think the true beauty of all of this as well is that Cactus wasn't meant to be impervious to pain. He just didn't give a flub. That's when the danger side comes in. You're like, well, wait a minute. If he doesn't care about his own well-being, what the hell is he going to do to me? I'm probably dead. That is where the sympathy came from too, because it just made you want to root for this guy, be it WCW, WWE, or ECW. And Foley just got it because he was so nuts. And then you could tell he had a heart of gold too, which also actually made him feel a little bit more unhinged. You never knew what guy you were going to get. Quite literally with him, he had 3. Number 9, The Fiend. So this is why I get a little bit mad when people criticize Seth Rollins for what he did back in 2019 when he was feuding with The Fiend. If you're going to have a guy that is walking around in a scary mask and trying to be spooky wooky, the opponent has to sell for him a little bit. Otherwise, what's the point? You may as well go out there as a teddy bear. The danger comes from the fact he was insane too, because while when he was in the ring, he was like, oh, I'm The Fiend, here's some scary noises. Bray Wyatt would be then the Firefly Funhouse guy. If you saw this in a movie, you'd be like, this human being is not well, there's something wrong with him, he don't even know who he is. You also had all the mind games and that entrance and this idea that maybe Bray Wyatt / The Fiend had powers. And once again, if you're about to take him on, you'd be a bit like, well, what if he turns me into a rabbit? I mean, you don't know what he's gonna do. In all seriousness though, it is why Bray Wyatt was so damn good at this, because nobody had a creative mind like him. That's why even more sad he was taken so soon, because he was just getting started. Probably would have changed the wrestling world. Number 8, Kurt Angle. And we are talking about the Wrestling Machine version that basically went from 2006 to 2007. And Angle has talked about this and how Vince McMahon brought him into his office and said, listen, Kurt, we like the entertaining stuff, we like the funny stuff, but I need the Wrestling Machine version of Kurt Angle now, so I need you to be the most serious man on the planet. And good grief did he take that on. Because he stuck that gum shield in and just went totally crazy. And of course, during this time, he was going through some personal issues in his personal life. And I don't know whether that fueled him on. But be it his last days in WWECW or what he did in TNA, you just knew you were getting 100% intensity all of the time. Sometimes it was a bit exhausting because he never stopped. I mean, it was like a robot who'd been programmed to fight or like he'd been inducted into Cobra Kai. And I don't actually think anyone could have done this but Kurt. Sometimes he just ran through people with such power, he did feel dangerous. I mean, go look at message boards at the time. It made such an impression. People were like, oh, he should go to the MMA, you know what I'm talking about, just because he was such a badass, forgetting that he had a broken neck about 47 times. It also showed you why he made it to the top of Olympic wrestling and won that gold medal. I tell you, there will never be another Kurt Angle. He genuinely is one of the best of all time. Number 7, Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. In 1998, Scott Steiner looked at the wrestling world and was like, man, I need to change things here. So he dyed his hair blonde and honestly became an absolutely crazy person. I mean, he was genuinely scary, and even WCW officials felt this way, because every time he cut a promo, they were like, well, I don't know what he's going to say. And sometimes he would cut promos on people he wasn't even feuding with, but it kind of worked if you were a fan, because you were always second guessing what was going to come next. This also happened backstage too, because Scott got into some crazy backstage fights, including one with DDP, and I would urge you to go and Google this today. It sounds absolutely horrendous, and if Paige still holds a grudge, I wouldn't be surprised. Kind of sound like the big booty daddy beat him to a bloody pulp. I mean, this never went away either, because think when he debuted in the WWE as this character in 2002. What's the first thing he did? He grabbed a microphone, and what did we hear over the PA? Give me a flubbing mic. If you're not aware, he did not say flubbing. So yes, the big booty daddy felt like an absolute unhinged person, but that's where the element of danger came from. And look, he did make his way to the top of WCW. That was not a fluke. Number 6, Big Van Vader. So the name there is important, because we are not talking about the Vader that came to the WWF in 1996. Because there Vince Russo told him, hey Vader, you have to go out in front of the crowd and call yourself a big pile of shib. It's absolutely terrible. From 1990 to 1995 though, over in WCW, Vader was just a monster, mostly because he wanted to throw real hands with people. So when he was in there with someone like Cactus Jack, who we've already talked about, who didn't mind being walloped, oh my gosh, they had these absolute wars. And once again, that's where the danger came from. He was able to extend this as well to his feuds with Ric Flair and Sting. And when Vader was the bad guy, you were desperate for the hero to take him down. Otherwise, it was like, oh my gosh, he is the world champion. What if he decides to stop wrestling and he comes after me? I'm done. There was just this atmosphere when he did make his entrance because he had built it up. That's why the WWF wanted him in the mid-90s. So why the hell they weren't able to replicate this? Well, it basically comes back to backstage politics. But again, go and Google and YouTube some old Vader matches today from this period, and you'll be like, hot damn, man. Now I totally get it. Number 5, Angry Randy Orton. So while the current version of Randy Orton, I'm mature now but I don't really care, is my favorite, if you go back to 2009, well, I think it could be the first time when Randy started to figure it out. And this is because he just became a psycho killer who did not give a damn. And don't forget what he was doing this time period. He was taking his boot and booting people in the skull because he wanted them to die. The whole point of this too was that he was happy to do it and he wanted to brain you. And even though he had a stoic impression most of the time, every now and then he would just do a little bit of a smirk. You'd be like, bro, what the flub is wrong with you? And don't forget, he also became the world champion. A quick reminder of some of the stuff he did during this as well. He tried to blow John Cena up with some pyro. He basically tied him up to the ring post and hit him so hard with a kendo stick his ribs broke. This was also the period, by the way, when he handcuffed Triple H to the ropes and did like terrible stuff with Stephanie McMahon. Even going back now, that is a very, very intense angle. So the man was basically insane. And as such, he felt damn dangerous. Number 4, Mark Henry and his Hall of Pain era. I think the reason this resonated so much is that everybody was like, man, there is a side to Mark Henry that we haven't seen, but how do we bring it out of him? Because don't forget, he basically debuted in the late 90s. He didn't actually get to this point until 2011. It turned out a catchy theme where he talked about kicking somebody's ass was going to be the way. And when we transformed him into this version of Henry, oh my gosh, he would just destroy people. And because he was so strong, you could totally believe it. It really didn't matter who you were either, because he was an equal opportunity killer. And he would beat up production staff and anybody that even looked at him wrong. And don't forget, it wasn't long after this when he was doing that fake retirement angle with John Cena. And that ain't normal behavior, man. It's basically emotional manipulation. So he just came across as a monster. And there was also these undertones that he was so mad he used to be portrayed as sexual chocolate, and he was gonna bury that forever. Honestly, Mark Henry came of age during this, and he was damn good at it. Number 3, Ken Shamrock. All the damn time. I mean, this guy. Now, Ken Shamrock really doesn't get the credit he does deserve, because he was one of the first people to come from the MMA background and enter into the wrestling world, to the point straight away you're like, well, I know you're legitimate. I've seen it. He was presented this way too, and in 1998, holy crap, man, this dude was so good, especially because he did the scream and he wouldn't let go of his ankle locks, and he'd smash the steel steps when he did get to the ring. There was just this hint of doubt where you're like, well, I'm sure he's just playing character. What if he's not? Can even go back to his first proper match with the British Bulldog in 1997, where the Bulldog thought it'd be hilarious to pour some dog food over him. This is when Ken Shamrock does snap for the first time, to the point all the officials from the back ran out to try and stop him, and they couldn't do it. And I get we do that all the time in the modern day, but back then, well, it was quite novel. So he really should be put in the Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned. I know his WWE run wasn't long. If you want to talk about making an impact, bam. Number 2, Unmasked Kane. Now, I am still of the belief that taking the mask off Kane was a mistake, but also, he had a run of 20 years. There was no way he was going to keep it on forever. Glenn Jacobs knew how to approach this as well, because he was like, well, now I'm going to have to go even deeper into my soul. And this is when he was doing the likes of tombstoning Linda McMahon and electrocuting Shane McMahon's testicles and laughing the entire time. He also set fire to Jim Ross, which is attempted murder. And somehow he took his unhingedness to the next level, which is very impressive, because when he was Masked Kane back in 1998, he chokeslammed The Undertaker through their own parents' graves. I don't want to ruin the video, but that's totally f***ed up. Aside from the odd smirk as well, he too had that dead-eyed glare in his eyes. And actually, after a while, he did make this work. Remember when he had that entrance and he came out in chains? If anyone else done that, you'd be like, that's utterly ridiculous. When the Big Red Machine did it, you're like, yeah, somebody got to keep him under control. Number 1, MMA Brock Lesnar. So this is why I wanted to mention Ken Shamrock how I did, because he walked so Brock Lesnar could run. Now, of course, when Brock did return to the WWE in 2012, he was a former UFC heavyweight champion. That's all we needed to craft the character, because we've already talked about it. Everyone and their dog knew that this guy was real. Let's look at the run as well. When we got to SummerSlam 2014, Brock was throwing John Cena around and trying to kill him. And of course, because of the aura he did have, he was the dude that was picked to break the Undertaker streak. He also broke the arms of Triple H and Shawn Michaels along the way. And there was that crazy angle at the 2016 SummerSlam when we decided, oh yeah, Lesnar could just elbow Randy Orton in the head for real. Now this was a dumb idea, but if you are just watching it as a fan, once again, it just added to the legend of Brock, because it looked like he was trying to murder him. It also made him terribly dangerous, which is why even when he came back in a cowboy hat and we could enjoy the character a bit more, he was still a bit like, well, give it a minute, because you don't know what he's going to do next. That's why that 21-1 victory was so important as well, because WWE and Brock ran with this for a decade. So don't you walk into my house and tell me we didn't get the worth out of it. Now, of course, there'll be a bunch of other dangerous wrestlers that we should give a shout out to. Make sure you do the comments below. If you like the video, share the video and subscribe. If you would like another list from me, the bald idiot Simon Miller, you can click the screen right now. Otherwise, I appreciate your time, my friends, because there's nothing more important than that, and I hope you have a great time, whatever you're doing today, and I will see you on the next one.